Don't settle for bad socks. Get comfort and grip at an affordable price with Puregrip Socks Pro. Choose from 18 different colors at puregripsocks.com.
Let's talk about the state of Puma football. A line that is currently made up of 3 ultimate options, the most prevalent of which is the future ultimate, aka the ones Neymar wears, where pretty much any boot that he's ever worn throughout his entire career has garnered the interest of consumers, with their speed offering being the Ultra Ultimate. And I've been pretty adamant over quite a few years now that Puma has underutilized this football boot in all of their marketing, given the popularity of speed boots across the board. And like most other speed options, you're going to find very similar tech, but technically at a lower price point of $220, which obviously isn't cheap, but considering the Nike or Adidas alternatives start at $250, $220 is not a bad deal. And then finally, the one that Puma all of a sudden seems to be making the biggest push on, the King Ultimate, the return of the Puma King in terms of actually seeing some type of marketing attention. However, unlike most past King models, certainly the most famous ones, instead of a natural leather or kangaroo leather upper, this is a boot entirely made out of a synthetic material called K Better, with again a cheaper than most retail price of $200. All of which, by the way, you can pick up below the normal retail prices by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes via the links down below. With Puma as a brand, even before the Neymar hype, being one that I think was starting to get recognized as being really underrated. Great quality football boots at prices that were lower than the more popular alternatives from the swoosh as well as the 3 stripes. 2 out of 3 in their lineup were always top notch. But can we say that about their current lineup? I'm not so sure. And that's not to say that you couldn't have a positive experience with any one of these 3 boots. Of course, personal preferences play a huge role in what you are going to like playing in, but I will say, compared to those more popular or even less popular alternatives, I'm not so sure that any of these are the best options, or even second best in some cases. Starting off with the King Ultimate, I think this is a great example of a good overall concept, and I like most of the execution of this product. However, when you compare it to really its main competition in the Nike Tiempo Legend 10 Elite, another football boot that has gone away from natural leather and into full synthetic, while the Tiempo does technically retail for $30 more, I think overall, Nike's attempt at synthetic leather feels significantly better than Puma's K Better technology. And on the topic of overall affordability, something that I think has been a strength of the Puma brand, if we look at Nike's lineup of Tiempos this year, the Pro option, which retails for $140, is arguably every bit as good as the Elite. So while I think a lot of people probably want the Elite, if you want the overall experience of a high quality synthetic Tiempo, you don't necessarily have to spend over $200, which again, kind of is a strike against the King Ultimate in that for $60 less than these, you could have something that I would argue is better. And by better, I mean 3 main things. One is that the Tiempo is by far the more comfortable football boot with the type of synthetic it uses on the upper. I also much prefer the construction through the heel compared to the King Ultimate. I also think the touch on the ball is much more convincing in terms of feeling like actual leather. Obviously, there's no true replacement for a natural leather material. If that's your thing, stay away from the King Ultimate, stay away from the new Tiempo, buy something with an actual leather upper. But this to me feels more like a thin synthetic, more along the lines of what you're going to get from the Puma Ultra, rather than something that I think is a true replacement for certainly a kangaroo leather material. And then the third reason why I'm not in love with these is that they're just not as light as I think they should be, especially considering how thin this upper is. It doesn't really have any padding to it. There's no real bulk to this upper, so there's no reason why they should weigh more than most of their top-end competition. And then there's the Ultra Ultimate, a line of football boots that I really think has suffered from the change for the sake of change situation. Pretty much every big football boot brand at this point depends on releasing new colorways and new models to continue to drive interest, and in general, just stay relevant. If they don't change up their product in some way, at least this is what they think, they're going to sell less and less football boots as time goes on. And once upon a time, I think the early variations of the Puma Ultra, not only were they less expensive than the current Ultra Ultimate, bearing a retail price of $200, but I think they were overall really good in terms of standing out from the crowd and offering something different. Over time, the Ultra Ultimate has become a football boot that is stiffer, less comfortable, and heavier than what they were doing a couple years ago. Kind of a similar situation to what we saw Adidas do with the X line, where we had Speed Flow that was so awesome, then they changed it to Speed Portal, which was not so great, and obviously they're in a much better spot again with the crazy fast evolution. But this is one of those football boots that, when compared to its competition in the speed category, while it might be less expensive than the other top-end alternatives, it does nothing as well as anything else. And if you're talking about pure performance as well as overall quality of fit and comfort, when it comes to picking out a new pair of speed boots, I would pick Nike over these, I would pick Adidas over these, I'd pick New Balance, I'd pick Mizuno. There are so many other options that I would rather have before picking out the Ultra Ultimate. Again, it's not saying that this is a bad pair of football boots, but there genuinely isn't one aspect of them that I think is a standout in today's current speed boot market. And then finally, there's the Future Ultimate, the one that I would argue is easily the best option in their current lineup. Of course, personal preference plays a huge factor in terms of what you are going to like and what you want in regards to a pair of football boots. But if you do like something that has that soft sock-like kind of knitted upper sensation, the Future Ultimate definitely wouldn't be a bad choice. Again, especially considering the price point. These retail for $220 in older colorways. You can find them on sale for even less. And compared to the more popular knitted options, again, from Nike or Adidas, these just cost significantly less and are going to perform at a similar level. However, even though I think the Future is a very well-rounded football boot, super comfortable, fits great, overall awesome touch on the ball, solid sole plate and stud pattern, there isn't much about this that I think you can complain about, but I think if you compare it to what Puma were doing in the past with the Future lineup, it is once again another one of their products that has suffered from the change for the sake of change situation, where once upon a time, the Puma Future was a super exciting product that had these features that you couldn't get from anything else, where at this point, the Future Ultimate, while a great overall product, has nothing about it that stands out from the crowd. With the new feature of the Future Ultimate being Power Tape, this zigzag sticker effectively on the surface of the upper that's there for the sake of structural reinforcement. Can you feel it? No. Does it look cool? Kind of looks like a Band-Aid in my opinion. And is it something that people are being drawn to the Puma brand, or I guess more specifically the Future Ultimate, because of how interesting it is? Absolutely not. This to me is a great pair of football boots, but certainly not an exciting one. And as sad as that is to say, in today's current football boot market, if your boots aren't exciting, if people aren't interested in trying them out, they're simply not going to buy them. Out of the current Puma Ultimate lineup, it's definitely the one that I would pick. But again, can I say that I would pick the Puma Future over something like a Phantom GX or even an Adidas Predator Accuracy? No.